Welcome to the Bears Den, everybody. I'm your host, Chicago Clarence. I got both my guys here, Todd and Andy. And guys, before we get started, fellas, if you don't mind, please subscribe to the show if you like what you hear. And please, while you're doing that, give us feedback. We love getting feedback. That's how we move. Like us on Facebook. Holler at us on Twitter. Say what's up to us on Twitch and Twitter. And you know what to do on TikTok. Now, guys, we got an exciting show this afternoon. We're going to be talking about the Caleb Williams contract situation. It finally got done. We talked about what he was going to be slotted, and it seemed that it worked out that way. And we're also going to take a look at training camp. Training camp has started, and we're going to look at two positions today. We're going to look at the running back room, and we're going to look at the defensive back room. Before I get started, though, let me say what's up to my guys. Todd, how you living, baby?
Doing good, doing good.
Glad to hear that. Glad to hear that. Andy, what's up?
I'm doing good as well. I wish this summer heat would end here in Charlotte. Other than
Now
that, I have
listen,
no complaints.
Mother
I'm
Nature
ready.
has turned the thermostat
Yeah,
down a little bit the last
A
couple
little
of
bit.
days, man. Come on, it's been turned down a little
it's been
bit.
waterlogged as well too last couple of days.
Listen, the man comes home and his wife cooks dinner and he don't know how to act. He's still complaining about it being too hot outside.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it throws me out of whack when she has dinner on the table. It makes me think something's going on.
So listen, guys. I know we was talking about our last show. We kind of got into Caleb Williams' contract situation. He finally got inked to a 4-year deal with a fifth-year option, which is pretty standard in the league,
Yep.
somewhere around $39 million. Todd, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I wasn't ever really concerned about it because of the way they do it now. I mean, it was crazy, and it's been this way for a long time now. So the slotting thing makes all the sense in the world, and so I don't know what the real reason was waiting as long as they did, but you try to you ask for things, I guess, and I don't know if he really asked for that franchise tag thing to be removed or not. But can't blame him for asking. But some things are a little over the top, and that was one of them. So the next negotiation, that'll be a challenge. But we got 5 years, so.
Now you kind of stole my thunder on that because I was going to run that by you guys. With the reported things that he was asking for. I mean, I've got my feelings about it. What say you about it?
Um,
Well,
Go
yeah, go
ahead,
ahead.
Tom.
No, you go, man.
Um, I, I don't think it hurt to ask to have the franchise removed. I mean, it never hurts to ask. What's the worst
Right.
thing that's going to happen? They're going to say no. But I agree with the Bears 100%. I would not have removed it because you're opening up the floodgates for everybody else to start doing it. And
Right.
what's the point of having a labor agreement and a CBA? And there's just no point. I mean, at the end of the day, he signed. We knew he was going to sign. He had no leverage because it's a CBA, it's a labor agreement. You got to sign for
Mhm.
this. It's slotted. You got to sign for the. I mean, it's if you don't like it when the negotiation when are up next time, bring it to the table. Hey, we want 6 years instead of 5. We want this
Yeah.
much more
Right.
money instead of this. We want the franchise tag off, gone. I mean, that's
Yeah.
stuff you need to bargain for the next labor agreement. But I mean, he
Yeah.
just at the end of the day, it's done. We knew it would be done. He got what he got. He got what only he could get. So, Clarence, what do you
Seems
think
like.
about this? Or
Yeah.
Todd?
Yeah, chime in a little bit. It seems like this new trend of no agent thing kind of. I got to think that the labor association, even the players association, probably would have been against this because
Yes.
they spend all that time negotiating that, so that's just going to throw a monkey wrench in everything. So I mean, I think I first heard that what Lamar Jackson was holding out and didn't have an agent, right? Was going to do it all himself, or
Worked out pretty well for
use this.
him.
It did, but that that like this move on a rookie deal like this going that way. And I know that we talked about the Railcon stuff a little bit too with that. Him not wanting an agent. That seems to be a trending thing. So there's going to be guys that are going to push that envelope. But these owners are going to we've never had anybody as talented as Caleb. I mean, at least potentially going in. So it's not like before if it was a rare a mid round quarterback or a mid first round quarterback, something like that we had drafted. We wouldn't even contemplate doing anything that was going to ruffle feathers with the other owners. So it'll be interesting going forward with guys, guys that are labeled as, can't miss guys, whether they're, what they can reach out and try to do as rookies. But I'm glad that we, held firm, as a team.
Here's the thing, though, and I hear what both of you guys saying, and I'm definitely feeling it. But this is my thing. When we start talking about what he was saying before the draft process, before we even, selected his name, and the things that was coming out of his camp gave me pause. Then
Right.
leading up to the negotiation part of it, and him signing his contract, and reportedly wanting a piece of the franchise, wanting this and asking for that, talking about what he's worth. He knows his worth. When you already in a slotted salary situation, all of that worries me. Now we are all Bear fans and we want to win.
Yes.
So our expectation is that we're going to
Please,
win.
man, please.
If this guy comes in and he plays well, year 5 is going to be a nightmare. Signing this dude to another deal, a long-term deal.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know we're a long way from that, and we got a lot of football to be played. But this guy's supposed to be the franchise, and he's worrying me with
Yeah.
just the way he carries himself. And when you throw in the fact that he doesn't have an agent, and his father seems to be behind the scenes pulling a lot of the strings, it definitely worries me. But moving on. We're gonna talk. We're gonna take a look at the running backs and the defensive backs this week, and I think that we got a talented bunch at the running back in the running back room. Starting out with signing DeAndre Swift, and we got Roshan Johnson back there, who seems to be, for all intents and purposes, going to be moving up to RB2. You got the guy who was RB1 last year, sliding down to RB3 and maybe not even being on the team. And we still got Travis Homer out there who adds some value with special teams. Andy, I'm going to start with you. What do you think about this running back room and some of the reports coming out that maybe Khalil Herbert might be on a short leash?
Well, it's surprising because, like you said, last year he was number 1, but we all know his pass protection is probably the worst of all the names you just mentioned. I mean, let's face it, DeAndre Swift is going to make this roster. Roshan Johnson is going to make this roster. And that third running back needs to have value in special teams. Khalil Herbert does not have value in special teams. I'm not saying he couldn't do it, but Travis Homer has a lot more value on special teams. And plus, he played with Seattle. He knows Shane Waldron, and he knows his offense. I mean, I feel like the fourth running back is going to come down to Blasingame and Herbert. I mean, Seattle historically does not carry a fullback. Shane Waldron does not use a fullback in his offense. But that doesn't mean he won't keep Blasingame and cut Herbert. I feel like Blasingame and Herbert is going to come down to the fourth running back. It's just, it might be a preference for Shane Waldron because he doesn't use a fullback. Maybe Herbert will make it. Or maybe they'll try to move him for some kind of draft pick. I mean, he's on a rookie deal, and they made no effort to re-sign him. So I think he might be on the bubble, honestly.
Okay, so if you're talking about trading him, and Todd, I'm finna come to you, but let me just say this. My number one problem with Khalil Herbert is pass protection, and he don't catch the ball out of the backfield really well.
Right.
And if you can't pass protect and you can't catch the ball out of the backfield in these days in the running game, what do we need you for? They don't run between the tackles anymore with their running back. So Todd, what are you thinking about this?
Yeah, I think that with his inability to catch the ball, I mean, we're going to be pass heavy. I mean, we have to be. There's a lot of weapons. And he's a nice tool to have if Swift went down. He's a solid second back. But if for him to be our second back, he would need to be a better receiving back, and he just isn't. Yeah, I think there might be a trade, even like a combo thing. I'd seen a thing, and it's all just speculate, but the Patriots have a lot of money, and even a combo trade with Herbert and Larry Borum they need offensive line help too. For Matt Judon, who's a light pass rusher, but I think there's a good chance that Herbert's not on the team. I don't know about Blasingame. I know that I'd heard that they we have three tight ends pretty much set, right?
Yes,
yes, no doubt.
Yeah, so we're set. Then there was some talk of like an H-back tight end type of guy, and maybe not Blasingame because they typically doesn't run a full back. I don't love. I mean, I could see it because of Johnson's ability to block maybe working, but Blasingame's been worth the money the last 2 seasons for sure. So I would lean towards keeping him. I think Herbert's probably on the outside looking in. If we kept you keep a couple guys on that, young guys on the practice squad that can catch the ball, that's what you need. If somebody goes down, you just grab one of those guys. Running backs are dime a dozen, man.
And I see Herbert on another team adding some value as maybe a third down back. I mean, the guy does break tackles, but if you can't pass protect in this league in the running back position, then your days on the team are definitely numbered.
Yeah, his yard per carry is really good, but yeah, it's just the efficiency he has doesn't really fit for us. So, and he's on the last year of a deal, so if he does play this year, he's not long term. We're not going to pay him. So
while we on this subject, let me ask you, and Andy, this is your turn. Let me see. How you feeling about the decision to sign DeAndre Swift in the first place? I know when that came down the pike, we were talking about. We were kind of surprised.
I was very surprised because, like, the running back is becoming a dinosaur now. He's not valued like when we were growing up. If you had Walter Payton and you had Eric Dickerson, you had Tony Dorsett, you were a contender. You had elite talent. And like back then, it was acquire elite running backs. Now the league is pass happy, chunk plays, throw the ball down the field. I thought we should have just rolled with Roshan, Caleb Khalil, and maybe drafted another running back and saved the money and put it into the edge or put it onto the offensive line. But I was surprised when they signed DeAndre Swift. And please, Shane Waldron, no more gun runs. We cannot block that. Do not do any more gun runs.
Yeah, we for some reason we just can't block it.
No,
no more. Our last 2 offensive coordinators refuse to get in single back formations and just run the ball down people's throat. And when you look at it, that's what we did the best.
Yeah.
But for some reason we just wanted to be in all of these crazy sets, and now even on goal line when we got a 5'2" guy blocking a tight end, for God's sake, Matt Nagy. Don't get me started on him.
And no more Cole Kmet under center taking a handoff. Yeah. No more of that.
It might have been,
no more Cole Kmet on center.
Something to do with our center quality is a little problem with that. So, but yeah,
and we're still not sure if we upgraded that position yet. I mean, that's still we'll talk about that in the coming weeks, but that's still a discussion to be made as well. So let's move over to the defensive backs, which for my money is the strongest group on the team, with Jalen Johnson and Stevenson and Gordon and Kevin Beard and Jonathan Owens. Todd, how you feeling about that group?
I think we're going to lose a guy. Honestly, I don't think we can keep as many as we have. That's always been, at least in the recent memory, our defensive backfield's been pretty bad. But no, I think probably we go 7 deep at corner, and I mean, I don't know if we can keep them. I don't think we have the roster spots for it. So I think somebody decent's gonna get cut. But yeah, I love Stevenson. I mean, Jalen Johnson is what he is. He's become one of the top guys in the league. But I love Stevenson on the other side. If Gordon can stay healthy at the nickel, those 3 guys are as good as anybody. They're great, and Brisker's great. We'll see how Byard does. He's a little older, but and I think that Owens has a chance to be pretty good too. So.
Yeah, I think we brought Byard in. I think we brought him in as a fail-safe. Well, actually, for the since we let Eddie Jackson go.
Yeah.
And I think he could see some time at that position. He's probably even going to start at safety. Um,
Somebody signed
I'm
Jackson,
thinking.
didn't they?
Yes, the Baltimore
Um,
Was it the
Ravens signed
Ravens?
yeah, he
Eddie
went to the
Jackson.
Ravens. Yeah,
Ravens. Yeah.
exactly.
I'm glad he got
That's
a job.
surprising. 'Cause
I like
Not
him.
really.
He just
I think
didn't
if
tackle.
Baltimore's
You
a
know, he
physical
was,
team and he doesn't like to be
yeah.
physical, I was kind of surprised by Eddie Jackson to the Ravens. He just isn't
He's
physical, and Baltimore's a physical defense.
yeah. Well,
I was-
he's a backup there for sure. I mean,
Yeah,
anyway, but yeah. But yeah, our cornerback room is great, and our safeties are pretty solid. I think we may end up having to replace Byard at some point, but you know, he may get 2 seasons. We'll see. So,
Yeah, I mean, and for my money, if that's what happens, I still think that this is the strongest positions that we have on the team. It's the deepest for sure. And I think that we meant for it to be this way with the way we were drafted. Especially with grabbing Stevenson, a lot of people thought that he was a steal. But correct me if I'm wrong. Did we not trade up to get him?
we did, yeah,
a
we
few
Yeah.
did.
spots, I believe.
Couple
Yeah.
spots, yeah.
So
Yeah, he's a cornerback that hits is a rare thing. Safeties hit. I mean, you see that all the time, but a corner that'll actually come up and hit you, that's a rare thing, and he is that. So
yeah, we got to get him to pull the reins back on that because I don't know how many personal foul penalties he had last
he's
year.
gonna get
But
some, but
yeah.
you gotta love him against the run. He'll come up and just the run support. He's fantastic. So anyway,
Andy, what's your 2 cents, man?
Well, you guys talked about the 3 biggest guys on at corner. I like all 3 of them. I mean, they are still, like Todd was saying, they are still very high on Terrell Smith, Josh Blackwell, Greg Stroman Jr., and Jalen
Stroman, yeah.
Jones. And I like all 4 of them as well. And I don't see us keeping 7. And those 4, they showed up a few games last year. You could see them making plays, and they're young, and they're aggressive as well. I mean, I hate to lose any of those 4 kids right there. I like all 4 of those kids right there, but we're not going to keep 7 corners. So somebody is going to get an up and coming
Stroman
corner.
will make a roster. It's just not going to be ours.
And then I think Simone Baez's husband, Jonathan Owens, he could be a steal. I mean, we signed him for very little money. He could really be a steal. And then, like you were saying, Kevin Bayard, if he just tackles, that'd be a huge upgrade because Eddie Jackson just wasn't cutting it last year. He just would not tackle. At all.
I'm not worried about his tackle. I'm worried about his age. But we got some quality behind him. So if he's a he had played several good years with Tennessee, right? So I think that was it. And he went somewhere last year, but
he played for Philly.
Philly, yeah. So
and they pretty much wrote him off. So I was surprised that we signed Bayard.
We were aggressive. We signed him early, so we don't usually get very aggressive.
We signed him right out the gate.
Yeah, so
and I was surprised by Swift. That. And then we signed. I feel like we may have signed Jonathan Owens, and just in case Kevin Bayard doesn't cut it.
Yeah, well,
I mean, in his prime, Kevin Bayard was a good safety.
Yeah.
If he was still in his prime, I'd be very happy with this signing.
Oh yeah. He would have been 10 million more. But anyway, that's and they probably need. It's a young. Johnson's got some years on it, but it's a fairly young defensive backfield, so it's good to have a veteran in there, in the room anyway. Right? So anyway, but Did you, going back to the running back for a little bit, did you see any of the hard knocks there? I guess we were in on Saquon for a while from where that looked. Did you see that?
I did not see that.
Yeah. We were. It got too rich, but yeah, supposedly we were running the market on Saquon before it got too high, and then the Eagles were able to jump in. So apparently that was our first choice at running back. But at least from the footage that they show on that, it's worth a watch. It's pretty good. So, and they've had pretty good coverage of the draft stuff, Rome and Caleb. So,
all right, you're back, Clarence.
Yeah,
I guess Clarence's thing is going to be coming and going during the show. He did it last week. He's doing it again.
Man, you know what? Ever since I got this position, that work calls, and they don't even care what time it is. They still call me.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody wants to order something, baby. I tell people every time my phone rings, that means it's money.
Yeah, that's a good thing, though. So, Clarence, you want to add anything about the defensive backfield? Me and Ty were still discussing it. How we think Kevin Bayard was a safe signing. We don't know if he's going to hold up. That's maybe why they signed Jonathan Owens. But if Kevin Bayard just tackles, if he just tackles more than Eddie Jackson did, that's an upgrade in itself.
I mean, I definitely agree with all of that stuff. You know, like I said before, I've said it 3 times. This is our strongest group on the team.
Yeah, it is.
And having a position that this deep with the way that some of our people have been getting hurt, namely Gordon, has definitely been something that we want to have some stability at, and I'm all for that, no doubt. But I want to ask you guys, I want to throw you a curve because I know we normally have this stuff preset. So I want to ask you a question about something that was reported during the week on what Aaron Rodgers said about the Bears almost being able to beat the Packers. Todd, what are you feeling about that?
Well, I think he should be more concerned with what's going on in his division, shouldn't he? I mean, he hasn't been a Packer for a good while now. So, you know, they're a good team. They're a good squad. And, you know, it's just all who's going to be healthy. And yeah, I'm sick of Rodgers. He needs to shut up. I mean, he just needs to shut up.
You know what? I'll agree with you, but this is what bothers me. He's right. We can't beat the Packers.
And it irritates me too.
As much as we get irritated about him running his mouth, I mean, I don't have it in front of me, but the guy's record against the Bears was stellar. For whatever reason, no matter how good we were or how bad we thought the Packers were, they always seemed to be able to beat the Chicago Bears. And I am sick and tired of it. We're hoping that finally we're going to get somebody in there that knows how to do it. And maybe we can compete at the quarterback position because that's the number one position for the last 20 years. The Packers always seem to have the better player at that position. So, Andy, how you feel about it?
You know, when Ryan Poles got this job, he said, we're going to take back the North and never give it back. And to me, step one is beating the Green Bay Packers on a regular basis. We need to beat their ass like they've been beating our ass since they acquired Favre. And that's all I'm going to say. We need to beat their ass on a regular basis. So I'm sick and tired of losing in them. And somehow I have coworkers at work who are Green Bay fans. I have 3 of them. I got to hear their mouths every single time. So I'm tired of it. I want to beat this team, and I want to beat them badly. All the time.
It's something to be able to compete when 2 teams play and they consider it a rivalry. It ain't a rivalry when one side always wins.
No,
you know, so we need to cut that out, number one. And number two, it should make you feel some kind of way when a team looks at the schedule and circles a win when it's time to play you. And that's what the Green Bay Packers do. They own us. You know, you can say all you want to about Virginia McCaskey and them owning the Bears, where the Packers hold the least. I'm gonna tell you that right now. And they beat us routinely, and a lot of these games is not even competitive. No. When you look at the games, one team is clearly out coaching the other, outperforming, out executing, and it seems like we even practiced that week. No. And I'm being kind here, you know. But how many times do we sit up in that bar and it's Packer game, and we sit there and we're cussing out the TV, especially Andy, you know, throwing things, almost flipping over tables, you know, pissed off because once again we're losing to the Packers.
Oh, here we go. I'm not even going to comment on who that really is. But yeah,
Storm's out with about 3 minutes left.
Anyway, while we're talking about the Packers, let me ask you guys this. This is off script as well. Jordan Love and this soft holdout. Do you think he deserves to be the highest paid quarterback in this game? Anybody?
No.
Now, wait a minute. Wait, hold on. What are we talking about here? We got a guy in Baltimore that's got 2 MVPs. 2 regular season MVPs. We got a guy in Kansas City that's got 3-4 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
And he's still in his late 20s, early 30s.
And neither of them are the highest paid anymore.
30, is he? Yeah, he's not
if it's not mistaken, it's now Trevor Lawrence is the highest.
It's Trevor Lawrence, yeah.
If you think about something, this shows you how good of a franchise Kansas City is. They got Patrick Mahomes on the cheap. They paid him before all these other contracts starting coming due, and they really got him on the cheap. They got him at a discount compared to what some of these other contracts are going to be. I mean, they locked him up for what, 10 years, 500 million? That's now a discount. That was brilliant. He's on the cheap now compared to some of these other contracts.
Well, I think you're right, but I also think that it also predicates on his willingness to want to win.
Yes,
Right.
You know, that's one of the reasons why they wasn't able to keep Tyreek Hill.
I agree with that.
It did bite. You know, you were able to, you know, to sign your tight end, and they signed defensive players and whatnot, but they wasn't able to keep everybody.
No.
And you know, had he got paid what he was worth, well, now you ain't even got your tight end or your wide receiver.
They would have lost Chris Jones this year or something. I mean, you might make a signing, but you look back and see what it cost you. You know, I mean, it's
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say the one thing about the NFL, that their ability with the way that they do the contracts is to kick the can up the road, you know, a couple of years, you know, because all of these contracts are not guaranteed like it is in every other sport. So, you know, you can play with the numbers and recycle every year, and then when things start to change, then you can just keep people around. This is the reason why a lot of the players don't like to sign their contracts without any guaranteed money or upfront money, because of that very reason. Their contracts are not guaranteed.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're staring at that with DJ. You know, he hasn't. I guess it's not going to be this year, and we need to try to sign him in the season or do some sort of extension. I mean, he's under contract, but
yeah, he's under contract for 2 more years.
Yeah,
you know, it will behoove us to go ahead and pay him now.
Yeah, it'd be cheaper than 2 more years.
We need to pay him in maybe this season sometime for the year. It just, you know, they need to see what's all going to shake down. But yeah, his number. I mean, it's a lot of money, but it's, you know, compared to what other guys are making, it's.
But let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. While we're on the subject, do you pay DJ more now, and knowing that you're going to Keenan Allen sitting over there and would like another extension on his deal, and we still don't have a pass rusher?
Yeah, I don't think that we're gonna probably re-sign Keenan. I think that the Travis Scott's had a good camp, but I think they're counting on him being the third guy. I just don't see that they're gonna squeeze a number that Keenan's gonna be happy with. You know, I don't know. I mean, there's a chance, but you know, you don't want to start, you know, redoing other people's deals to get money to sign a 32-year-old veteran receiver. It's just, you know, it doesn't make financial sense, but we'll see. You never know.
Well, this is the Bears we're talking about, and our propensity to do Chicago Bear things, you know. So,
well, we have good contracts now. We don't have a lot of dead money, and that's how you do it. If you want to, you know, keep paying guys that are past their prime, that's what creates these problems, and that's what Kansas City doesn't do, and that's where Poles came from. So maybe if we can talk, you know, a reasonable deal with Keenan, but if Tyler Scott's good enough to be your third receiver, why are you going to spend that money there?
Tyler Scott, though, has got to show it when the game lights is on. He dropped so many passes for me.
No, I know.
Too many.
This is his year. This is his chance to become the number 3 receiver long term.
So, all right, Andy, what are you thinking before I go to what's got Chicago Clarence pissed off this week?
I mean, I love Keenan Allen. He's an elite route runner. I have nothing but respect for the man. But I feel like we didn't draft Rome Odunze to be a number 3. Right. We drafted him to elevate to number 2 one day. I feel like if we re-sign Keenan and keep Rome as number 3, we're kind of stunting his growth. And I just feel like we drafted Rome to be number 2 one day, and I don't think Keenan is in our long-term plans as well. And I mean that with nothing but respect. I think he's again an elite receiver. Has been. He's an elite route runner. He is one of the best in the game. But I just think our plan all along is Rome Odunze is going to be number 2. I mean, why did we draft him? We didn't draft him to play 5 years at number 3. We've drafted him to be elite as well and elevate to number 2. But that's my 2 cents on Keenan Allen. I mean, I love him. And maybe, like Todd said, maybe we can get him a cap-friendly deal. We say, hey, we're going to be a Super Bowl contender. Why don't you finish out your career playing for a Super Bowl team, challenging for Super Bowls, challenging for playoffs? I mean, maybe we can spin it that way and get him on the cheap, or convince him to go to number 3 on the cheap. and let Rome elevate to
I
number
think
two.
if you looking at his career, this is probably his best opportunity to go deep in the playoffs.
Yeah,
I mean,
San
he's
Diego, he
always
didn't do it.
yeah, he was always just riding around in a flashy car with bad gas mileage. So so that brings us to our part in the show where we're going to talk about what has Chicago Clarence pissed off this week. And this is a unique week because what's got me pissed off has nothing to do with sports. This is real life on what I'm going to bring up this week, and I'm definitely pissed off about it. I want to talk about a young lady by the name of Sonia Massey.
Mm.
On July 6th, calling the police because she thinks she's got a prowler outside her door. And two deputies come over. They walk around the house. The other one stays in. She was already in her home, and for whatever reason, she had water on the stove. Who knows? She was making tea. Who knows what she was getting ready to do? But the
Right.
police officer tells her to turn the stove off because he didn't want to have to deal with a fire. She goes in the kitchen. The body cam footage shows this, and 15 minutes later, she's laying on her kitchen floor dead. And I don't understand in 2024 why people, and I'm not talking about Black America, Latino America, or white America, how in the world do we still have people being killed, especially in their homes, by the people who are supposed to be protecting them? And it bothers me to no end when someone can call the police for whatever reason and then find themselves laying on the floor being shot 3 times, twice in the face. It's despicable. I'm sick and tired of it, and something needs to be done. If you are listening to this podcast and you are unlucky enough to find yourself on a jury, we have got to start holding police officers accountable for their actions. I used to drive a truck. If I hit somebody, I would lose my job. But God forbid if I killed somebody. Not only am I losing my job, but I'm going to jail. But the worst that's happening to these police officers are that they're being fired and they're being given murder charges. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but what I can tell you is to prove murder, you got to be able to prove intent. And so maybe we should just be charging people with manslaughter because murder is too hard to prove. And these police officers are getting off with this stuff too many times for my liking. There's no way a U.S. citizen should call the police and then find himself dead for whatever reason. All right, I've said my piece, y'all. Thank you guys for another exciting week of being in the Bears Den. I hope you guys have a wonderful week coming up. We're going to talk about next week. I think we're probably going to discuss the wide receiver room, and we're going to talk about the offensive line. With that, you guys have a great week and bear down.
I know.
Bear down.